There are moments in life that fundamentally shatter our perspective. A sudden loss, a betrayal of trust, or a realization that the safety net we believed was solid was, in fact, woven from lies. For those who eventually achieve true financial sovereignty, this moment often serves as the crucible, the intense heat that hardens, resolve, and clarifies purpose. My own journey began with a painful lesson, the discovery that the security I relied upon, security tied to the closest person in my life, the one who taught me my earliest lessons about money, was compromised. To feel financially deceived by that trusted figure is to realize with brutal clarity that accountability for your financial life rests entirely and solely with you. It strips away the comforting illusion that someone else will save you or fix things for you. It's a wound that doesn't just heal, it calcifies, leaving a scar that acts as a perpetual compass. That early shock, that emotional and financial displacement, was the hidden gift. It provided a powerful, immediate contrast between trusting others and trusting systems. And this brings us to a fundamental understanding of what we do here. Welcome to the Wealth Up Hub, where visionary mindsets turn into real wealth actions. Your future self thanks you. When the foundation of trust collapses, you are left with the raw material of self-reliance. This experience forced a kind of radical introspection, pushing me to search for principles, not just tactics, that govern true, lasting wealth. It was no longer about quick gains. It was about building a fortress of financial independence so resilient that no external force could ever breach it again. Over time, through studying the principles of those who build enduring wealth from the ground up, I began to see 7 distinct shifts, not in what they bought, but in how they thought. These are the principles that transform a person from someone who manages money into someone who commands their financial destiny. The first principle we must embrace is the sovereignty of accountability, ownership over blame. It is easy, perhaps even natural, to spend years blaming the external force that caused the initial pain, whether it's a parent, a failing economy, or a bad business partner. But true liberation begins when you accept that the past, however painful, cannot be changed, and your only real power lies in the present. You must stop outsourcing your financial success to luck, your boss, or even your spouse. A wealthy mindset takes full, unapologetic responsibility for its current financial state, knowing that every dollar earned, every investment made, and every system built is a reflection of intentional choice. This mental shift turns financial struggle from a burden to a puzzle, and you become the sole, competent solver. This kind of deep, personal accountability is the bedrock upon which all other success is built. This sense of personal sovereignty leads directly to the second principle, the value of financial literacy as self-defense. When I was in that painful early phase, my instinct was to earn and save. But saving alone is insufficient. It is merely delaying consumption. The truly wealthy do not just save, they educate themselves to understand the rules of the game. Financial literacy is not just the ability to read a balance sheet. It is the wisdom to see how money works outside of your labor. The foundational knowledge of compound interest, tax law, inflation, and asset classes transforms money from a source of stress into a tool of leverage. For me, this meant relentless reading, attending seminars, and finding mentors. It wasn't enjoyable at first, but it was necessary self-defense. If someone is able to deceive you, it is often because you lack the basic knowledge to question them. Once you acquire this knowledge, you gain a shield that no fraud or mistake can easily pierce. The third pillar of this renewed foundation is the mastery of delayed gratification through system design. We often hear about delayed gratification, but the concept is usually presented as a painful act of white-knuckle willpower. The truly successful don't rely on willpower. They design their environment so that the path of least resistance is the path of wealth. They understand that every moment of financial discipline today is buying them a lifetime of time and freedom tomorrow. When the decision to save or invest is removed from the daily cycle, when it is automated, scheduled, and deducted before you even see the money, it becomes effortless. This isn't discipline, it's engineering. It involves setting up automated transfers for your investments the moment your paycheck hits, treating your future self as your most important creditor. This simple systemization is the quiet secret of enduring wealth. This engineering process clarifies the fourth principle. Shift your focus from consumption to asset creation. The pain of my early financial experience taught me to hate debt and frivolous spending. I realized that most people are running a race toward a lifestyle they can barely afford, buying things that depreciate and generate zero income. The wealthy, by contrast, are focused on acquiring assets that generate cash flow. This means shifting your mindset from, how can I afford this luxury watch? To, what asset can I buy that will pay for this luxury watch every month, indefinitely? True wealth is defined not by how much you possess, but by the size of the passive income stream that flows to you even while you sleep. The key is to start small, a fractional share, a small online revenue stream, and scale intentionally. Every decision must pass one test. Is this a fleeting pleasure or an enduring asset? The fifth lesson learned was that your time is your true non-renewable currency. As we move forward in our careers, we often trade more and more of our time for marginal increases in salary. But the richest people understand that wealth isn't money. It's the control over time. That initial shock made me acutely aware of how precious life is and how quickly our energy, health, and youth fade. Therefore, every financial action should ultimately aim to buy back time. This means leveraging money to delegate tasks, whether hiring a virtual assistant, automating business processes, or simply paying for a faster grocery delivery service. When you are forced to rebuild from zero, you learn to value efficiency and leverage above all else. Because the opportunity cost of wasted time is decades of potential freedom lost. The sixth principle requires us to master the resilience of calculated risk-taking. When you've been burned by a major financial setback, the natural inclination is to become overly cautious, to hide money under the mattress. However, the path to massive wealth is paved with calculated risks. The difference between a financially sound person and a wealthy person is often the willingness to invest aggressively in high-growth, albeit volatile assets when they are young, or to launch a business when failure is still manageable. The key word here is calculated. This means understanding the downside, sizing the risk appropriately, and ensuring the failure of one venture won't destroy the entire fortress. When you have faced true financial hardship, you develop a unique kind of emotional resilience. You know you can survive loss, which paradoxically makes you a better risk taker than someone who has never tasted failure. And finally, the seventh principle, which defines true success, is the multiplier effect of giving back. Once the fortress is built, once financial freedom is secured, the meaning of wealth shifts entirely. It is no longer about accumulation, it is about contribution. The most fulfilled wealthy people channel their resources, their knowledge, and their capital toward improving the community. This isn't merely philanthropy, it's a form of legacy investment. When you help others rise, the entire ecosystem around you improves, creating new opportunities and generating non-monetary returns like happiness, purpose, and community standing. The initial act of betrayal taught me that money is a sterile object until it is put into service, and its highest form of service is empowering others. These seven principles, forged in the emotional fire of a difficult beginning, have been the blueprint for building lasting wealth. They forced a young person to look past the superficial metrics of status and focus only on the foundational mechanics of freedom. They taught me that the external world may attempt to deceive you, but the systems you build, the knowledge you acquire, and the accountability you embrace will always hold firm. Now, as we reflect on this deeply personal, yet universally applicable journey, let us summarize the core shifts that allow one to transition from financial victim to financial sovereign. These are the seven pillars of financial resilience: the sovereignty of accountability, taking absolute ownership of your financial present and future; financial literacy as self-defense, acquiring knowledge of money's mechanics to protect and grow your capital; delayed gratification through system design, automating your saving and investing so discipline becomes effortless; the shift to asset creation, focusing on buying and building things that generate cash flow, not just consuming liabilities; valuing time as non-renewable currency, using money to leverage and buy back your time and freedom; the resilience of calculated risk, investing aggressively in growth when young, having already survived true loss. The multiplier effect of giving, defining ultimate success by the scale of your contribution and legacy. Remember, fortune may come from things beyond our control, but what is in our control is the action we take today. So if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, because like and subscribe are in your hands. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next one. The Wealth Up Hub, level up your wealth.